We live in an era where physical friction has been almost completely engineered out of our lives. You can cross oceans in hours, summon food with a tap, and access human history from your pocket. Yet, as the speed and ease of our daily routines peak, we seem entirely overwhelmed by the experience of living. By every historical metric, we inhabit an age of immense convenience and endless entertainment. But alongside this physical comfort, global rates of clinical depression, substance abuse, and suicide are climbing steadily year after year. Our psychological resilience has grown alarmingly brittle. Therapists and educators are seeing severe breakdowns triggered by incredibly small disruptions. Young teenagers plunge into crisis simply because a screen goes dark or a smart device is taken away. When life is marketed as effortless, any friction feels unbearable. To cope with that unexpected pressure, millions retreat into escapism, relying heavily on alcohol and narcotics to numb the anxiety of a reality they were told was supposed to be easy. This chart illustrates the problem. On one axis, global GDP and material accumulation consistently climb. On the other, mental well-being plunges. We've tied success to owning things, but these two lines are moving in opposite directions. If adding more wealth fails to improve our state of mind, it suggests that our current definition of success is missing a critical component, one that cannot be bought or stored in a bank. 14 centuries ago, Prophet Muhammad offered a different framework. He taught that true wealth is not measured by palaces, possessions, or luxury vehicles. The central philosophy relies on an internal state known as samthripti, an absolute, unshakable contentment of the heart. It is the ability to find complete satisfaction with whatever situation you have been given, regardless of external circumstances. He lived this principle intensely. Despite his immense leadership, his physical reality was remarkably stark. Near the end of his life, he pawned his battle armor to a merchant just to secure 3 measures of basic wheat for his family. We see this exact mindset reflected in a young camel herder from the Yemeni Tajib tribe, who traveled with a delegation to visit the Prophet. When offered his pick of gifts from the public treasury, this youth declined the goods. Instead, he asked the Prophet to pray for 2 things: the forgiveness of his mistakes and a heart-granted absolute contentment. He rejected material compensation entirely. Years later, observers noted that this young man remained completely detached from the fierce competition for resources around him. Both the powerful leader and the lowly herder demonstrated that true peace acts as an internal shield, making a person immune to the anxieties of the external world. There is a sharp philosophical warning embedded in this worldview regarding the dunya, or the material world. It is not a destination for fulfillment. Rather, it is designed as a valley of endless, looping desires. To map human greed, consider an ancient analogy. Give a person 2 valleys filled with gold, and they will instinctively hunger for a third. This mechanical cycle of accumulation has no endpoint. It only ceases when grave soil finally fills their mouth. Today, we see the consequence of ignoring this rule. Millions spend their decades anxiously chasing the next acquisition, and they die while still waiting for their desires to be fulfilled. Their graves effectively become storage inns for incomplete ambitions. Searching for permanent peace within the material world ignores the mismatch between our environment and our appetite. We are trying to satisfy a bottomless desire with a limited supply of objects. You might look at this and assume the only path to inner peace is to reject modern technology, stop participating in the economy, and isolate yourself on a mountain. But this philosophy strictly forbids that kind of retreat. You are explicitly told never to curse the physical world. When utilized correctly, the material world is considered a house of blessings. Consider the historical archetype of Uthman ibn Affan. He was an individual of staggering personal wealth, operating right here in the ancient city of Medina. Yet he utilized his capital under a different framework than our modern standard. During a severe drought, a local merchant was extorting the public for water. Uthman identified the crisis, stepped in, and used his vast wealth to purchase the well outright. He then broke the monopoly by giving the water away to the public for absolutely free. Because he invested his material wealth into charity rather than personal hoarding, the physical assets grew. Today, 1,400 years later, a bank account and active real estate properties still operate in Medina under Uthman's name, funding ongoing public welfare. Uthman's life reflects the traveler's mindset. It views the world as a path to be built and improved upon, while treating wealth as a resource for the journey rather than the journey's end. This allows for a life where the heart remains unburdened by the weight of what the hands are holding. It creates a quiet peace in the present, while funding a legacy that outlasts a final breath.